Doesn't answer, doesn't mean he don't care. It's some of God's greatest gifts, unanswered prayer. Gotta get an amen.
The Tin Pan South Songwriters Festival wrapped up a successful 20th year of writer performances in Nashville. We caught up with one of the writers at the benefit show that benefited the organization Faith and Family Medical Clinic, which every year NSAI chooses an organization to give back to. We'll have that story coming up and more here at the Nashville Country Club.
We sat down and talked about what they needed, and we were able to work out a partnership where we're treating all the members of NSAI for a flat $20 fee.
Wow. Hey, we're hanging out with John Vesner, a legendary songwriter here at Tin Pan South. How's it going?
Legendary.
Legendary.
Good.
Yes, we're going to call you that.
I'll let you know after the show.
I highly doubt you're going to mess this one up, John. You're a pro at this.
Yeah. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, and we're at the Bluebird Cafe, and this is actually for a very special benefit for the Family Medical Center. Right. Can you talk about just being here and what's important about Tin Pan South for the Nashville community?
Well, you know, it's an amazing event. I was actually on the board when we first started this, and it's about the community of songwriters, both local and some coming in from out of town, and you get big names and you get people starting out, and it just really shows the canvas of what's happening in this town. It's amazing.
The Bluebird, we're singing the love. That's enough. Thank you so much.
With Waylon, believe it or not, but I've known him for years. But Pat Alger and I have written a bunch together, and of course, Paul Williams and I have written a bunch together too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And talk about a song that you've been, very touched by writing.
It's a funny thing. Yes, I've been touched by it, but it's usually your last one. But some of the stuff, it depends on. That's what's so interesting about it. You'll go back and you'll pull out an old song and suddenly it has a whole different meaning. So, I mean, where have you been's the obvious one, but You're Gone, which I wrote with Paul, had a lot of personal stuff for both of us, and so yeah, it depends on my mood and the time of day, and well, let's see, what time is it?
Okay, I gotcha.
And she went back to Alan and said, "Can we just put it at the end of a record?" So that's what they did. And there was another young lad there that night that was filling in for somebody, and his name was Garth Brooks, and that's the night that he got his record deal. So it's kind of a good night. Claire had all but given up.
I gotcha. And how did you feel when you got honored multiple times for that song? Was that something that you really held dearly for your career?
Well, yeah, it was an amazing thing. I mean, I think to this day, still, I'm not sure it's the only one that won like everything.
Yeah.
And it was kind of disrupting too, because it was like, it's a funny thing but not that I'm not grateful, but it was like, okay, we were up for this award, and before we were nearly just done with that, and then we were up for the next award, and it was an interesting process, but it sort of became about that for about a year and a half. And then you get the funny questions, like people will say, well, when are you going to write another one? And it's like, well, I think I'm going to enjoy this one first.
Yeah.
And first of all, I don't know how we did that. They just don't come along. So.
Made me stop and think, what's the hurry, why the running? I don't like what I'm becoming. I'm gonna change my style, take my time, and not take it all for granted, 'cause we're
only here for a little while.
And if you could give advice to a young, upcoming songwriter, what would you say to them?
Well, my advice wouldn't be the same as a lot of people. I think you have to ask your question, why are you doing this? And especially with what's going on in the market and all that stuff, I think that because of the slots on commercial radio are so small that you almost have to write with somebody to get in there. Not that it doesn't happen. So I would say if you're painted blue and everybody else is painted red, stay blue. Because, you can find a niche somewhere. It may not look the way you think it is, and so stay out of the results of the way you think it's supposed to look, And the other thing I'd say is don't let anybody else define what success. There's the outside success, and then there's the stuff that really feeds your soul.
Definitely. That's great advice. Well, we look forward to hearing you tonight, along with Pat Alger, who's actually co-written the song "The Thunder Rolls." So stay tuned for more here at the Nashville Country Club.